Hey guys, Happy New Year! It's the first week of January and I'm going to be doing some meal prep today for this week. So I'm going to just take you guys along with that and show you kind of what I do. I already actually started on the weekend. I made a batch of cream of broccoli soup and I will show you how I did that. So I hope this will help you guys with your meal planning as well and give you some recipe ideas to try. So the first thing that I prepped for this week was a cream of broccoli soup that I already did a couple days ago. The worst part about making soup that has potatoes in it is that you have to wash and peel and cut a whole bunch of potatoes. So to make my life easier for the future, I just peeled and cut a whole bunch of potatoes today, so that way I had some to use for other potato-based soups. I separated 3 cups for the broccoli soup and then blanched and froze the rest of them. Now for the cream of broccoli soup, I cut up 5 cups of broccoli and put that aside, and then diced up 1 onion. I'm using my Instant Pot to pressure cook this soup, which makes it super simple and easy and fast. First, you want to saute your onions in some oil or butter until they're a little bit soft and translucent, and then I added some thyme and some pepper and some salt. And the recipe called for Dijon mustard, but I only had regular, so that's what I used. Then you want to add your potatoes and your chicken broth. To pressure cook the soup, you want to make sure it's on sealing, press manual, and cook for about 7 minutes. When it's done, turn it off and press saute just to cook the broccoli. Add it in and then stir it up and cook it for about 5 minutes until it's soft. Then using an immersion blender, you just want to blend that up until it's nice and pureed. Then I added about 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese and some heavy cream. And enjoy with some toasted sourdough bread. So the first thing we're going to do this morning is start our sourdough bread. So I just took my starter out of the fridge and I did just feed it yesterday, so it is actually a little bit bubbly, but I'm going to feed it anyway and then do it a little bit later. While I'm waiting for the sourdough starter to be ready, I'm going to start prepping breakfast because I'm pretty hungry anyway, so I'm gonna eat some today. We are going to be making a sweet potato hash, I guess. I have these potatoes that have already been cut into slices because I was gonna make these the other day for supper, but I didn't. So I'm just gonna cut them up into little cubes for the breakfast. So I didn't do all of them. I have about like this much for the breakfast, and then the rest of them I'm just gonna keep in these slices, and then that is another meal that I can have. I'm just gonna like roast them in the oven and then like put some seasoning and maybe Parmesan or something on it.
Hi.
We're gonna make breakfast?
Yeah.
Yes. Were you eating pancakes?
Yeah.
Yep. So now I'm just gonna drizzle some olive oil. Just kind of. So I'm going to air fry the sweet potatoes on like the roast setting for about maybe 15 minutes probably. They are a little bit smaller than I normally do, but we'll see. Now I'm just going to dice up an onion to put in my sweet potato hash. I'm just frying them up with some oil, and then I added some butter because I just felt like it needed more butter. So I added some roasted red peppers that I roasted in the summertime and then I just froze. Now I'm going to add a bag of coleslaw mix, and it's like a super easy way to do it. You can just buy this from the store, or you can get cabbage and carrots and chop them up really thin, but I just don't have like a mandolin or something to make it this thin, but hopefully maybe one day I can do it with fresh cabbage from my garden. So you just want to cook it down until your desired softness. We're going to add the sweet potatoes. Now we're going to add some salt, pepper, and some chili flakes.
To the video.
I'm eating it with a side of sourdough bread. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Super simple because you can really use like any kind of vegetables you like. I really like the cabbage or like the coleslaw mix. It's a really easy way to get a lot of vegetables in for breakfast as well. Now the rest of it, I'm putting it into a container and I have a whole week's worth of breakfasts. It's been quite a few hours since I fed my starter because my sister picked me up. We went to town and got some groceries, but I'm back now, so we're going to start the bread. I make this bread every single week, and if you want the recipe, I will link it down in the description for you guys to try out. So the sourdough bread is finally started. I like to make a double batch of sourdough bread every single week. That way I have fresh bread every week. And since I make a double batch, I put one in the fridge and then I put one loaf in the freezer. And then when I'm done the first one, I just take the other one out, thaw it, and then you can eat it. So if you have a bigger family, you can make like a really big batch, or if you just want to get ahead of the game, you can make a big batch and then freeze all your loaves, and then you can take it out throughout the week and it stays fresh in the freezer. So now that the bread is started, we are going to freeze some steaks that we just got from the grocery store because they were on sale. So figured I'd buy them. So we're just gonna put them in freezer bags and freeze them for later. And I'm going to freeze them flat like this so that it's easier to just take apart. And I'm gonna put the date on there. I am going to start my pinto beans. So I have about 8 cups of beans in my Instant Pot bowl, and then I am just going to cover them up by about 2 inches just to soak them overnight, and then I will show you how I cook them tomorrow. I'm just gonna leave that to sit overnight. So the other day, my brother-in-law called my husband and said that someone hit a deer right in front of him. So my husband went to go pick it up, and we spent the whole evening today processing it and grinding it up, putting them in freezer bags so that way we have a whole bunch of venison now. I think we got about 35 pounds of meat, which is really nice, and we didn't have to buy any of it. So the next day, I took my dough out of the fridge and started to make my bread and get that proofing before I start with my beans. I think I filled the pot with beans a little bit too much, so I took about 2 cups out. So I'm just gonna put a bunch of salt in there and some garlic powder. It's at sealing, and then press manual 1 hour. While the beans are cooking, I am going to cut some more onions. I'm using 1 onion for the beans, and then while I'm at it, I'm gonna just cut up another one for some chicken pot pie that I'm gonna prep for the week. So the trick to delicious beans is to use a lot of bacon fat. You wanna just fry your onions right in there until they're fully cooked. While that's cooking, I'm gonna prep my chicken pot pie, or well, my duck pot pie. I'm using duck meat for this. So I'm just going to cook some mixed veggies. When the onions for the beans are ready, I'm gonna take them out and use the same pan, add some butter, some onions, some garlic, saute it up for a bit, add some salt and pepper, and then some more butter, and then I'm just gonna add a little bit of flour to make a roux. Then I'm gonna add my chicken broth mixed with my milk. Once that thickens up and the veggies are ready, I'm going to put the vegetables in and my meat. I've been cutting a lot of onions today, and it's quite oniony in my house, but I woke up feeling a little bit sick today, so it's probably good for me to smell all these onions and get it in my system. So the way I'm gonna do this is I'm just gonna put the filling in a casserole dish like this, and then later on, when it's closer to supper time, I'm going to make some drop biscuits and drop them on top. I've never made a fully duck pot pie before. It's always been chicken mixed with duck, and I've made a wild turkey pot pie before. But I'm excited to try this. And we have duck and we like it, so I'm assuming it's gonna be good. So I definitely should not have filled up the Instant Pot so much. Next time, I'm not going to. Now I'm just gonna let them cool and then put them in the freezer. Not gonna lie, I am pretty tired already, especially with being a little bit sick today, but I know that after I get all of this done, then I won't have to do so much work throughout the week and the month. I think I'm just gonna make iced tea so that way John has something to drink for supper, and then I think that's it. We'll I'll finish off baking the bread, and then later on when John's almost home, then I'll make the biscuits, the drop biscuits for the chicken pot pie, and we'll have that for dinner tonight. I'm not really a juice drinker or a pop drinker or anything. I usually just drink water, but my husband is. He needs to have some sort of drink with his meal. So then the easy thing to do is just to drink pop. But pop isn't really healthy, so that's why I make my own iced tea. I haven't actually done this in a while. I think the last time I did it was in summertime because I've just been like busy with other things, but I really want to start making it again so he doesn't have to drink pop anymore. So this is what we're going to do. 6 bags of black tea. This is an orange pico tea, I believe. We are going to put 4 cups of water in here and let it steep for 10 minutes. While that's steeping, I am going to make the lemon juice for the iced tea. Alright, so we are going to split this tea into 2 jars. And when pouring hot liquids into the jars, you want to make sure that you have like a towel or something on the counter, because the counter is usually pretty cold. Makes it cold, hot, and then it breaks. So now what I do is I do about a half a cup of sugar in each jar. I'm going to add 6 cups of cold water to each jar. That just fits, and I didn't even put the lemon juice in there yet, so I think I'm gonna have to empty it into another jar. Okay, so I'm just gonna close these and then just mix them up a little bit just to get everything incorporated, and then I'm going to pour some of each into here and then split the lemon juice into all 3 of them. A little bit in there. In there. Look how cool that is, though. Can you see that it turned color? That's awesome. Oh, I love it. So the first couple days of this week have been pretty busy with all the meal prepping and all that stuff. And our whole family did get sick. So yesterday was kind of like a chill, let's rest and drink all the elderberry syrup, have honey and garlic and ginger tea and all that stuff. But we're already feeling better, and now I have a whole bunch of meals prepped, and it feels really good to have meat in the freezer, beans in the freezer, food in the fridge, all that stuff. So we are ready for the weekend. Having enough food is really, really nice, and I don't have to worry about a lot of prep. Thank you guys so much for watching, and just so you know, next week I have a really good recipe for you guys, so make sure you subscribe so you won't miss it. See you next time. Forgot to mention that duck pot pie was really good, and the recipe for the biscuits on top I will link down below as well.